Simon Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flags down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
With the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama.
And she loses the football. Scooped up by Burns. Brian Burns to the house.
Welcome to the Stop Capping Sports Podcast.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Stop Capping Sports Podcast. I'm your host, James, and I'm here with John and Seth.
Yo, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
Good. As you can see, Dean is missing right now. He is having weather issues. So it's just us three right now, or maybe the whole episode. I don't know if he's going to tune in or not whenever it clears up. But yeah, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Ready for some football.
Yeah.
Hey, we're almost there.
Did anybody get to go to Fan Fest?
Yeah, I took me and my crew out there. Had a pretty good time. It was definitely fun for the family. There's my crew that we took.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, had pretty decent seats. We were in section 225 down around the corner. What is that? The south end zone, away from the tunnels.
Yeah,
pretty good time down there.
Y'all get to get any signatures? Did they come around?
No, we were lower level, but we were the upper bowl.
I got you.
In the lower level. So
yeah, I got you.
And I'm not one of those people either. So
it gets crowded down there.
Throw some elbows down there, man.
Yeah, look, I see grown men fighting over top of kids to do that. That's not me, man.
Yeah, no, it gets ridiculous down there. I haven't been to Fan Fest since 2015, since we went to the Super Bowls. Last time I've been.
I couldn't tell you the last time I went. Not the Fan Fest, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
I know the last time I went, it was still free. I do know that.
Correct. Same. And I'm not sure when they started charging for it or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was 1 or 2 years after the Super Bowl year, I think is when they did. But I think they went up to 10 at one time, and now it's down to 5. So you get a pretty good fireworks laser light show at the end in the stadium. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. Definitely, you can see the stadium upgrades, the lighting. That was a big upgrade a few years ago, for concerts and stuff like that they put on now. So, it was cool getting to see all that stuff. Main reason I would go is just to watch the football. So, that stuff may be lost on me for the most part. I think the wife and the kids like the other stuff too. But
yeah, have you been to a night game?
$20 beers are a little stiff though.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
it's one of that beer stuff.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough. Have you been to a night game there?
I have once.
No, I've only ever been to day games. I think 1 o'clock games actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I think me and Dean went to a Monday night game when we played the Giants.
Okay.
But yeah, I can tell you what year it was. I remember it was a Monday night game.
Yeah, I went to one Sunday night, Tampa Bay. It was the year we went to the Super Bowl. That year, the last game of the year, and it was like 25 degrees outside. So, and I was nosebleeds. I mean, I was all the way up top. So it was pretty. It was rough, but good game. Obviously, we blew them out. I think I ended up leaving early because I was like, all right, I'm over this. My feet were numb, and
those are good. Those are good games.
Those are good times.
Yeah, of course. So I know last week you guys went over the was it AFC East and West,
Correct.
And I wasn't able to get on, so I figured we'd just start off with that. I'll run over mine, over my projections on what I chose for this team.
Hey, before you do that, gotta do it. Get your beers ready.
Oh,
yeah, gotta get them ready.
Cracking me one open.
Yeah, Mountain Dew.
Pepsi,
I know it.
Hey, so let me just put just one more thing about this weekend. I've come to. I think I'm going to start stocking Coors banquets at the house.
And why is that?
I had a couple of weekend a bucket. We stopped at Twin Peaks. Well, we stopped at Concord Mills, went to Twin Peaks. It was a little lacking, but we got a bucket. Got some banquets in it. And I was like, God, man, it's been a minute since I've had one of these, but it's a heavy enough beer without, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of the perfect middle. I was like, dang, I'm gonna have to start. These are gonna have to go in the fridge.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna start being my beer of choice.
I used to drink them really good when they're cold. I like them in the bottles, like when they're in the little bottles. I like it better than glass.
Yeah,
but not much on that. Them heavier beers get me now. I mean, they just bloat me, bro. I can't do them.
And then, and then trying to eat anything with them.
Yeah.
God dang.
That's terrible. It's terrible. So y'all went over East and West AFC last week. Did y'all want to share, who y'all had, at least who y'all had winning the division, so I can kind of, know where y'all stand on that and see if we're kind of close.
Let's see. I'm going to say, let's see, East. AFC East, who did I have?
I think you picked Buffalo.
That's right. Definitely. But yes, that was a clean sweep.
Yeah.
Buffalo was a clean sweep. Yeah. And then for the West, I come down to a tiebreaker between the Chargers and the Broncos.
Really? Wow.
The Chiefs coming in third.
Yeah.
Okay, you did say there was a change in
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I had the Chargers 12-5 winning the division. Kansas City was 11-6. So I got one game point.
Okay.
Changing the guard out west.
Yeah, obviously the East. I'm with y'all. Buffalo. I have them tied for the best record in the NFL this year at 15-2.
Wow.
Yes, 5-1 in the division.
Wow, Baylor's boy.
Man, I think it's about like every year you kind of see them get slightly a little bit better, and Allen plays a little bit more better. Now, I'm the one. I was one of the people that said I didn't think he deserved the MVP. I think it was Lamar Jackson's the win. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, Josh Allen is the truth. He is the best quarterback in the league. And I think they did enough. They kind of bolstered that defense up a little bit more. He still needs to get something out of the guys on the offensive side of the ball. I think he has a lot of, okay options there, but we need to see some of those guys step up. But I mean, as I was going through all this, it's just every time I saw Buffalo in the matchup, it was like, how do you go against them? Second in that division, I went with Miami at 8-9. Not really too big on them this year. They struggled last year, staying healthy, wide receiver, couldn't stay healthy. Obviously the issues with Tua. I like Devon Achane. I know y'all went over some of the dynasty sleepers and dynasty pickups. So I do like some pieces off the offense. I'm just not big on the team. In third place in that division, I have New England at 5-12. Still, I think it's the same thing. I think it's lack of talent around Drake May right now. I like Drake May. And I think it was good bringing Stephon Diggs in there with him, giving him a veteran option at that wide receiver position. But again, it's just lack of talent around him. And I still think there's room to grow there. And then last is the Jets, 3-14. Not sold on them. I mean, I'm not sold on Justin Fields. We have to see it. Again, he's in a tough division. Those are some tough teams in there with them. So we'll kind of see how that shapes out. Going on to the West.
I will say I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one that is down on the Jets. I had them at 2 wins. So
okay, yeah.
I got them at 6, so I'm not too far off.
I mean, I think if they come out and that defense is playing well, I think defensively they could definitely win some games. But again, we have to see it from Justin Fields. We've seen little bits here in Chicago, Pittsburgh, a little bit. So we just have to see it for extended periods, see if he can keep that momentum up and see if he can continue to play at a high level. He has Breece Hall. He has Garrett Wilson. So there are some options there. They drafted Tyler Warren, which, I'm sure y'all covered him, talking about the dynasty players. So there's some pieces there for him to find success. We just have to see how he plays. Going to the West, this is probably the highest I've been on this team, even though I'm high on them every single year. I have the Chargers winning the division at 13-4, 5-1 in the division. I think it's a change of guard happening. I think they did a really good job at bringing pieces in for Justin Herbert. I mean, and that's what it came down to. I've always been big on him. And I know people say, oh, he had Keenan Allen, he had Mike Williams, but he had those guys on the back half of their career, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you got him, you know, you got Ladd McConkey there now. You brought in Trey Harris. You know, they drafted Trey Harris. Yeah. Marion Hampton, obviously all three of us, like, you know, we're big on Marion. So they did a good job again, some young pieces. Now, this is the year that Herbert needs to prove something. I think it's most important for them, even if they don't win the division, it's important for them to make the playoffs. He needs to at least get into the playoffs. He has been a 5,000-yard passer before in this league, so we know he can do it. But I think it's, you know, I think it's their time. I think Harbaugh's going to get him in there. He's going to get that team rolling, and I think there's going to be some good things out of Justin Herbert this year. Mm-hmm. Second place, Kansas City, 12-5. I've talked to Dean about this, and I think, John, me and you talked about it the other day. I don't feel like they have a lot of young players that really have to stand up now. You got Travis Kelce kind of, you know, on that back half of his career, not really giving you a lot of production. So you have a lot of young guys that need to step up and prove something. And I think that's the biggest thing when you look at Kansas City. You have Pat Mahomes. You know what Pat Mahomes can do. Now you have to, these young guys have to step up now and continue to carry the torch, because you have a future Hall of Famer coach, you know, in Andy Reid. So they're the Kansas City Chiefs. They're there. They're going to be there in the end. They always find a way. But I think, you know, right now you got to knock them down a little notch, because you're really unsure about the talent there in Kansas City. Third place, which I have at 9-8, still a playoff team, is the Denver Broncos. Seth, you knocked it out the ballpark on Bo Nix last year. He looked really good. You know, they bring in R.J. Harvey. They signed Cortland Sutton, so you got your receiver locked up. I just think it's still a young team that still has, you know, really good defense. But, you know, there's still going to be some humps they need to get over. But I still think they can, you know, be a playoff team this year for sure. And then in last place in that division is the Raiders at 6-11. Not much to say, John. Another one we talked about the other day. They have Brock Bowers. You have Jacoby Myers. I know you're not big on Jack Besh, but again, oh yeah, and not to mention Ashton Genty. So they did bring in some talent, but it's Geno Smith, and we'll see how he does. He's backed with who's the head coach?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
He's back with Pete Carroll, so we'll see how that goes. But I think when you look at that division and you look at the three teams ahead of them, those teams have surged. Outside of Kansas City, they've been there, but the other two teams have surged. So I think that's going to knock them still down as they continue to add more pieces to that, you know, to the offense and that defense side of the ball. So that's what my projections look like for those two divisions.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on the West in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the Raiders in fourth, of course, but with a record of 8-9. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I feel like solid. A record of 8-9, and you're coming in fourth in that division. I mean, of course, this is my projections, and what does that mean? But it's just, I think top to bottom, that league, that division is going to be pretty good. And this is one thing I talked about. I mean, go to another division and give me another 4 coaches that are better than these 4 coaches, these head coaches. I mean, these are Hall of Fame caliber coaches that we're talking about now.
That's a really good point.
So I think it's going to be a tough division. I think they're going to beat up on each other. And I think it was one game in the division that separated the Chargers and the Broncos for me. And I think, like you saying with the Chiefs, a lot of young guys, somebody else has to step up. Somebody else has to be part of that. And you can't keep relying on Kelly. It's definitely getting older, definitely showing his age. Mahomes is sort of getting figured out. So somebody else has to be the playmaker out
Correct.
there.
There'll still be a Dan somehow, but
oh yeah, they're still competing, man. They're still going to be in the playoffs. That's for sure.
They'll probably still be getting calls here and there. Get them a game
every now and again.
Yeah. I don't know though. Favoritism. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen might become that guy, and that would be frustrating because
it would.
He's
that would be terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's how I have that shaping out. Like I said, I'm sure you guys covered as far as the dynasty, stuff went. So I'm not going to get too far in that. I'm sure I would probably mention the exact same guys you did. You two guys did. So, but yeah, so this week we're going to go over the NFC East and West, which I think I like these two. I like these two divisions in the NFC this year for sure, especially the top part of it. But yeah, either one of you guys want to start off, and whatever division y'all want to start off with, and we can go from there.
Yeah, so I think a good starting point would be the NFC East. We took the East first last time, so we can stick with that. NFC East is going to be a very interesting division, to say the least. Obviously, we had two playoff teams come out of the NFC East last year: Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. So this is going to be an interesting division. I do think that there's still going to be two playoff teams come out of this division, and then historically speaking, right? NFC East over the last, I want to say it's like 12, 14 years or something very long, has never had back-to-back conference champions as far as their division. So history speaking, we should be looking at a new NFC East champion in 2025, which means the Eagles would fall behind into a 2 or 3 seed within that division. So we'll see how that goes. But for me, I'm going to start off at the bottom. I'll work my way through. I got the Giants finishing last place. I got them at 4-13. I got them picking up wins at Washington in week 1 with a surprise win. I got them winning at New Orleans, and then I have them winning again in week 16 and week 17 versus the Raiders versus the Vikings and at Las Vegas versus the Raiders. So realistically, I'm not really high on the Giants. If you look at the beginning of their schedule, you want to talk about tough to start. That is murderer's row. They realistically should start the season 0-4 unless they have a massive upset. And I did give them one versus Washington just to be nice, to be quite frank with you. But realistically, I mean, they should start the season 0-4. They should go into the Saints as a winless team. And then you come out of that game, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, 49ers, Bears. Realistically, you're talking about a 1-18 going into the Bears game. So I'm not very high on them. I don't know how long this Russell Wilson experiment is going to last for the Giants this year. So we'll see what week they do probably make a transition into Jackson Dart to get the rookie some experience. I mean, they invested a first-round draft capital in him. If you look at it, historically speaking, almost every first-round quarterback drafted does eventually start in year 1. I don't think this is going to be an exception that they have prior to the bye week, and they do have a really late bye week, which also really doesn't help this situation. So I do think, if you look at it, I think that Bears game could be a game of circle where the changing of the guard could take place for Jackson Dart. Like I said, I got them going 4-13. So Seth, what you got?
Let's see. I have them coming in at still bottom of the division, but I have them coming in at 6-11. I do have them losing 3 straight. I do have them picking up the win in week 4 against the Chargers to finally get in the win column. I think mainly my thought on that is just, hey, West Coast team coming east. You're sort of going to be, you're coming to New York too. They catch them sleeping or something. But still 6 wins. Don't really have a whole lot of hope or, high hope for this team. In this division, it's going to be pretty tough up top. So I do, I'm definitely on the board with y'all of how long is this Russell Wilson thing going to last. I'm not a Russ fan, never have been, even from his time at NC State, just not my guy. So for me, the sooner the better to move on from Russ and get the next guy in. I don't even care if it's Jameis Winston. At least he's going to be good for a comedic clip. So he already is, and he's the freaking backup. So I definitely look forward to Jackson Dart, maybe by the end of the season, like you're saying, into the season coming in, and let's see what they got down the stretch. And I do see, let me see, I am giving them, they pick up 2 wins between back-to-back wins, Chargers, New Orleans, and then I have them hitting a couple down the stretch, winning 4 out of the last 6. So Detroit, New England, Washington, and getting one over Minnesota, and then ending the season with 2 losses after that. But I think down the stretch, maybe we'll see something change up in there. I do like the talent. Like, you can't take nothing away from Neighbors. The defense, definitely good talent up front, especially on that front 7. Outside of that, I just don't know how far that gets you. But I think they got some good building pieces. Definitely in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Well, I'm on John on this one. I have them at going 4-13 as well. As your first win coming against the Saints in week 5, I do think they start off 0-4. The biggest thing is Jackson Dart is how how's he going to look in the beginning of the season? I know training camp, they said he's kind of looked, kind of dicey, not what they, I guess not where they would want him at. But like you said, they mentioned talent. You got Malik Neighbors. You bring in Scatabo, which he seems to be having a good camp currently. And you mentioned the front seven on that defense. Defensively, I think this is where my projection could be wrong, because I think the defense will put them in some winnable situations, probably in the middle of the season, whenever Jackson Dart gets more comfortable in that offense. I think they have two really good running backs in Tyron Tracy and, bringing in Scatabo as a complimentary back for him. So I think that does work well in his favor. But at the same time, when you only have that one option in Malik Neighbors, I think that's what kind of scares me. I know Wandell had some, he had some games last year, but he was a short yardage guy, a lot of receptions, never really, was able to break and take anything to the house. So we'll have to see how the offense plays out. But yeah, I give them the win against the Saints. I do have them beat Minnesota as well, Seth. I have them beating the Raiders, and then I have them taking down Dallas. I think that's my 4 wins for them, for those guys. I still think it's just gonna be a struggle, get another top pick, and then continue to build on that offense, because defensively, like I feel bad for this division, because them quarterbacks gonna have a nightmare dealing with that front seven of New York. But again, that's where I think I could be wrong on this, when that that defense puts them in those closer games where they can kind of maybe even grind out the clock and score something late. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at with the Giants.
Yeah, no, good point on defense. I do agree there 100%. I do think that that defensive line could win them 1 or 2 more games. I do think that is very, very possible. Because up front, that defense is stacked. But up next, I don't know about y'all, but I got Dallas finishing 3rd in the division, just like last year. I got Dallas going 7-10. So Dallas has done a lot of good things this offseason, with the exception of paying their most important player, in my opinion, and Micah Parsons. This has been dragged out quite a bit. Parsons, at this point, he's already requested a trade, so we'll see what happens there. I know we've gone back and forth on, what the trade value would be for a Parsons deal. As a Panthers fan, all right, if we were to try to make that deal and trade for him, realistically, I know I sent y'all the same thing, similar to the package that the Bears sent the Raiders when they traded for Mack. So I don't think we would ever do it. I don't think Parsons will get traded. I do think that this gets worked out in the long haul. But again, these distractions this time of year, and Dallas is always something, right? Dallas is always in the news or always in a headline talking about one thing or another. And right now, I do like what they did offensively, right? I love the additions of Pickens. If you want to talk about some upside when it comes to fantasy or even dynasty for that matter, I think Dak Prescott is a great upside buy right now at his age. But realistically, when you look at the weapons around him, they just locked up Ferguson for a long-term extension. They're bringing in Pickens. They still got CeeDee Lamb. Running back game's a little right? They got 3 different guys back there that could all potentially play roles. I do think Blue, as a very low-round rookie draft pick, could turn dividends in the long run on that offense. I do think by the end of the year, it could be about a 60-40 split, with Blue being the primary running back in that offense and Javonte Williams being more of that third down passing yardage back, because, he was, I think, 2nd overall in receptions for running backs last year with the Broncos. So definitely some upside there as well. But like I said, right now, I got them going 7-10. I'm not high on them because defensively, I think they got a lot of opportunities. Their secondary is beat up every year. Both of their starting corners are coming off of injuries. One of them got fined, I think it was like $50,000, $500,000 from his contract for not doing his program at the facility versus doing it at home. So, again, just more news for Dallas, right? But defensively, I really don't trust anyone on that defense not being Parsons. So, realistically, like I said, I got them on 7-10.
Yeah, I have them. I'm definitely higher on them than that. I have them right now at 11-6. Now, I've done my projections. This would come in prior to all this Parsons, Jerry Jones beef that's going on in the public. We talked about it last year. Last week, Dean was like, "I'm sick of hearing about Dallas," and this is the kind of stuff right here that everyone's sick of hearing. They're sick of hearing their old owner try to go to war in the public with their player. And to me, he is treating his players with disrespect. And I don't know how you try to go into negotiations when you're shitting all over your players. And we're not just talking some random player that you're trying to fill the roster. We're talking one of your superstars that you're doing this to. Not to mention, we already had the last, even with Dak, even with CD, there was always some BS that had to be talked about by him. Why are you doing this with your top player? You are shooting yourself in the foot. Who wants to come? If you're a free agent, why would you want to even entertain Dallas and any offer from them? And now we're hearing that Jerry Jones is having one-on-one meetings. He's wanting one-on-one meetings with Parsons with no agent involved.
That's crazy.
Well, Micah Parsons hires an agent for a reason.
Yep.
To go in to have these negotiations. First of all, you don't make it personal. You want to say business is business. Okay, I'm sending somebody to handle my business. Don't say you have to have me in there when you're trying to talk business. You're making this person because you're trying to come at me thinking you're going to get a cheaper deal by just dealing with me. That's personal. No, if I was a player there, I would definitely be wanting out. My record right now is 11-6 for them because I did definitely like the Pickens trade on Dallas's end. Thought it was stupid for Pittsburgh's on their end, but definitely a number 2 receiver. No doubt when Pickens can even be a number 1. Definitely like that. I think Miles Sanders may be a slight sleeper in fantasy because I think he could actually come in there and do something. Even if we're talking about by committee, I think he showed down the stretch a little bit with Carolina last year that he can get worked into a system and be beneficial. So I like him a little bit. Thinking maybe he can come out and get some touchdowns here or there and contribute from a fantasy perspective. One thing that I want to talk about, though, is Micah Parsons to Carolina and all that. I'm definitely out on that, to be honest with you. I think I like the core that we have right now with Scorton, with Yamami Ellen, DJ One. With the defensive line that we have, I like what we've got going on. I saw even at FanFest, I saw some intermingling. I saw the shifting around, putting guys in different spots. I text y'all one time. They were running like a dime nickel package. We had who was it? Turk and Bobby Brown were 2 defensive linemen with Pat Jones and DJ Wonnum at the outside linebackers. That was our defensive front that we had. I thought that's a pretty good defensive front if you're talking about. And Bobby Brown was getting after it. He definitely would have had a sack on Bryce if they let it go through. Again, with Yamami Ellen and Scorton, I would think if there was a deal where we got Parsons, I think we're shipping one of them all with maybe another player too, as well as picks. So sure. It just doesn't make sense to me for us to be even in the conversation when we hadn't even really kicked the tires on what we got. I don't want to get too far into that, and because I just don't like the idea of that, and I don't think he's really an option for us anyway. I just want to throw that out there for anyone that thinks we should. Yeah, but. With all that's happened, especially with this Micah Parsons stuff, I could definitely be talked into lowering this record for Dallas. I just think they're going to end up shooting themselves in the foot.
Always do.
Yeah, that's just going to. I just don't see them. I don't even see this 11 wins being reasonable for them right now, not with what they got going.
Well, I took that in consideration in making my projections because I believe Micah Parsons will be gone. That may be a bold statement, but from the stuff that you're seeing that he posted, I just don't think he wants to be in Dallas anymore.
That's what he said.
Right to the point of what you made, Seth, is like, why would you want to be in Dallas?
Right.
Why? I mean, if a team is willing to give up, what it would take to get you and give you the money, why wouldn't you go to that other? I know I've heard arguments on the other side, people saying that Mike isn't worth it. He can't stay healthy. The price is going to be too high, which is why I agree with you, Seth, on I don't think he is the right option for the Carolina Panthers. What we're building, we need draft picks, and we don't need to be giving any away. So, and we've done a pretty good job, in my opinion, in the last 2 drafts with our picks. So I don't, because if you wanted a guy like that, you kept Burns, but again, we're not going to go back down that road again. So definitely don't think it's the right option for us. But I took that in consideration because I do think he will be traded. So for that, I give them an 8 and 9 record. I like offensively. I do like what's there. I like bringing in Pickens. I like that combination of CD and Pickens. I think that's going to be very, very deadly. I mean, I wouldn't say – I don't know. I'd probably say the best wide receiver duo in that division, in my opinion. I would probably take that over AJ Brown and Devontae.
Brown is, yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's
I can see it, though.
Yeah. I agree. It's a lot closer than people would think. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Correct. It is. And we've never seen Pickens with a guy like CeeDee Lamb. So we don't know what that's going to do for him, but I think it's going to bode well.
Or a guy like Dak, for that matter.
Correct. So I do like Dak in fantasy, especially redraft. I think he could be definitely a steal. Somebody's maybe, one of those later round quarterbacks that you can grab that could potentially finish top 5 this year in fantasy with those weapons. The running back situation, I do like Miles Sanders. Again, Seth, me and you had this conversation one evening. We were on the phone with Dean. I do like Miles Sanders there. Javonte obviously can't stay healthy. Jaden Blue, yet to be seen. He's a rookie. So, but yeah, I took that into consideration, taking it 8 and 9. I think that's where they're going to fall. I think you lose Michael Parsons, your defense is going to struggle. And the last thing you need is a struggling defense against these top 2 teams that obviously we both have on top. So,
and that defense has struggled last year quite mightily. So you take away Parsons, and if you look at it from when he did have the ankle sprain last year, they were terrible when he wasn't on the field. Yeah. And it would actually be worse because not only could they potentially lose Parsons, whether it's trade, whatever the case may be, they also lost to go on the opposite side of them to the Seahawks against Lawrence. So if Parsons goes, that entire defensive front looks entirely different versus what they've had over the last several seasons defensively. But before we skip to the next team, the question is, Week 6, Bank of America Stadium, Panthers versus Cowboys. Who's your winner?
I have the Cowboys winning.
Yeah,
I have the Panthers winning.
I have the Cowboys
Panthers picking up a dub.
Well, I would definitely re-rack some of. I would definitely re-rack. Right now, I definitely re-rack what my projections are because it would definitely it would affect what we're going to talk about about said it, but we're about to talk about the Washington team and it would definitely my re-racking of Dallas would definitely positively impact them.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I mean, you've already segued us into that Washington team, whether you want to call them Redskins, Commanders, or the football team. Washington Commanders right now. Big news for Washington. They did get the site approved to move back to Washington at their old stadium site. I did see that got approved in D.C., so that's going to be really, really good for them getting a new stadium built. I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of a dome, whether it's openable or fully closed off. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the renderings for it. But great news for them getting a stadium upcoming in the future. But when it comes to the 2025 Washington Commanders, I got them going 11-6. That's even for me, I will say that's a little bit high. I could definitely see some regression with this football team in this upcoming season. I'm not really, really high on them. But as I was looking through the schedule, as I was matching wins and losses, I did come out a lot higher than I thought I would. Because when I did this, I did the entire slate in one day. I picked every single game. And like I said, I came out with Washington 11-6. I do have them as a playoff team. Obviously, we all saw what Daniels did last year. He exceeded pretty much any expectations you could have imagined, especially with what they had available. But right now, I'm really concerned with what's going on with Terry McLaurin. Right, this hold-in situation over his contract. Hopefully, it gets resolved. But I mean, if you look at offensively, yeah, they made the trade for Debo. But Debo, I mean, we saw what happened last year. We know his injury history. He's not a reliable one. Do I like Debo as a 2? Yeah, I think Debo could be an excellent number 2 option. But if this thing with McLaurin continues to drag on, and to the point now where he's even requested a trade out of Washington, right? It could be a very fluid situation where this offense could look a lot different. I do love what I'm hearing for their, I think it was a 7th round running back. I have no idea what the guy's name is because it's longer than anything I've seen for a name. But I do like him. I've heard some really good things about him coming out of camp. So it'll be an interesting watch as far as what he's capable of, if he can really take that lead role in Washington as far as in between the 20s and that lead down back. Obviously, they're going to give Eckler the passing down work, so we already know that. But realistically, I got them going 11-6. That, again, for me, that's high. That may be their ceiling, in my opinion, because all of the things they do have going on offensively, I just don't know what it's going to look like. Jaden Daniels, excellent fantasy option because of the rushing upside, but the running game could look a lot different this year. Obviously, their passing game is going to look different with everything going on with McLaurin, bringing in Debo, not having a legitimate, solid number 3 guy right now. They got Ertz back at tight end, but Ertz is literally like 37, something like that. So I just don't trust it. And like I said, I got them 11-6. I got them a playoff team. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes for them.
Yeah. You're going to call me crazy, but I haven't won in the division. I have them one game ahead of the Eagles. 13-4 is what I have them finishing. I think they are bringing back Terry McLaurin. I think this is the negotiations are going to happen. You can't go into the season the expectations that you have and not sign your number 1 wide receiver. You do not want to go into the season with Debo Samuel. But I'm looking at it from a second year Jaden Daniels. In a second year, that defense playing together again. I think this defense is going to be really, really solid. But I did like what I've seen from Jaden. I do think what they have offensively is enough to continue doing what they're doing. They bring in Debo Samuel. I think he's going to be a factor. But it really came down to one game between them two for me. And I just had to give the edge to Washington. I think Dan Quinn has these guys on the right track. And I think with what I was at a game last year, and that environment that's there, these fans, they're in it. I have them with a 7-1 record at home, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I think that's a place you're not going to want to go play this year. Jaden's a dual threat. Obviously, he isn't like a Lamar Jackson, but he does bring something to the table, and I think he's going to be able to utilize that more in his second year, and he's going to be even more of a difference maker and going into this season. I like the schedule. It was, the schedule's really favored in their direction, based off, how it lays out for them. So I have them one game better than the Eagles. We'll see. And I think part of me, I feel like the Eagles may have a Super Bowl hangover a little bit, but we'll see how that goes.
It could definitely happen.
Yeah. So I like the Commanders this year, man. I think they're on the right track. It was all good last year. they
didn't have a whole lot of other directions to go last year, but up.
Yeah.
No, correct. But they did well. That's all. You know what I mean? They won those close games, and then you give them that second year together, man. That defense, I love defense, man. And I like
you love Lou. Just say it.
I do.
You love Lou. We know. We love him too.
So I have them going 8 and 9. And again, if I re-racked my Dallas projections, they would definitely get at least another win off of that, just alone. But part of the reasons that I was down on the Commanders this year is the Terry McLaurin issue for sure. Not knowing how that's going to turn out. If they lose him, that's going to be a huge hit.
Oh, 100%. They lose him. Yeah, I'm re-racking for sure.
Yeah,
they might drop below 500 then too. I agree.
Yeah, and even if they don't lose him, I always hate when wide receivers hold out. You cannot underestimate the chemistry and lack of developing that chemistry. Especially, I know he had a great year last year, but we're still talking about a young second-year quarterback, and you're going to take the number 1 target away from him. Possibly. So that's what gets me a little iffy about it. And on top of that, you're dealing with, I think, is it the oldest team in the NFL is the Commanders this year?
They're either the oldest or second oldest. So that's
so they filled a lot of gaps to surround Jaden Daniels last year with veteran talent, right? It's sort of a proven thing, put veteran talent around a young quarterback. To protect them. Well, eventually that veteran talent is going to run out. So is that going to be this year? Could be next year. I don't know. That's why I'm sort of a little iffy on them. That's why my record reflects that. Again, Dallas and then their deal sort of reflects that too. So yeah, I'm a little down on them. I know I picked, was big on them last year, but I think I'm going a little middle of the road this year with.
Oh, I'll tell you what's even crazier. For me, that's the 1 seed in the NFC. I have him as the best record in the NFC. Yeah. So I'm super high.
That's a big difference.
I think being up here, I mean, I hate that it like, but when you're up here and you're around it and you know what I mean? Because
it's like, homer now.
No, it's not a homer, but like that's the way I keep it with the Panthers. You see that up here, you know what I mean? I hear the news, I hear what's going on. Yes, the Terry McLaurin thing's big, but again, with the expectation you have, they're not going to let him go. They're not. They can't. And I just feel like I agree with you. It is age, but I think I
agree. I don't think he goes anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think he does either. It's just a matter of how long is that going to be allowed to linger.
Correct. They haven't played preseason game yet, so hopefully it gets
sooner it's resolved the better. That's for sure.
Yeah,
we hear it today. No. But yeah, no. I will say, if there's one thing looking at all of my projections, the one thing I probably am wrong about is about the Washington Commanders. But I guess I'm kind of bullish on them. Living up here and just getting to see everything that's going on. So
hey, it's your take.
Hey,
have your take.
Yeah.
All right, so. Last team left. I guess this is mine and John's. Is this who we're picking as division winners?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the record? Sure. I want to hear the records. That's why.
14-3.
Okay.
You say what?
14-3. 14-3.
Me too. 14-3 for me too.
12-5 is what I have them.
Who's your losses, John?
I got them taking a loss at Tampa. I got them losing at Green Bay on Monday night, and I got them losing at Washington in week 16.
Okay. I got them taking one to Dallas, Chargers, and Washington. That's my 3 losses.
So we all got a split. From the sounds of it, we all got a split between Washington and the Eagles.
Yeah, like I said, I only got them one game behind Washington.
Okay.
Which could come down to anything, right? But for me, like you said, the scary thing is the Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah.
Are they complacent? Are they satisfied because they just won it all? Or are they going to come back and they're going to be hungry and they're going to want to win again? I think this team is built different. Defensively, this is one of the top 5 units in the NFL. I know they did lose some very key playmakers on that defense, but they're extremely young, and they've been drafting very well defensively from the front 7 to the back 4. Either way you want to look at it, defensively, that is one of the most well-sound built units in football. Mm-hmm. They have the best offensive line in football. They have the best workhorse running back in football, and they have the most complementary quarterback to the running game in football. My thoughts here are we are going to see regression in the run game. I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be able to repeat what he did last year. I don't think he's going to come close to repeating what he did last year. Historically speaking, that is an accurate thought because running back ones don't repeat. It just doesn't happen. The wear and tear, the mileage, the fact that this team just went all the way and won the Super Bowl. I don't know how long Saquon will be able to hold up and play at an elite level. But offensively, I think this year they're going to kind of transform a little bit. I think they're going to become more reliant on the passing game. Last year, Hurts didn't pass for, 3,000 some odd yards. It wasn't a lot. But they have 2 of the best receivers in football. They have a solid tight end and they have the best offensive line. I think this team is going to be a lot more well-rounded when it comes to offensively passing and running versus being as reliant on the run as they were last year. And that's with the playmakers that they do have offensively in those skill positions at tight end with Dallas Goedert, at the wide receiver position with Devontae Smith, who in my mind is criminally underrated, and then A.J. Brown opposite of him. I think this team's going to take a step forward offensively, and it's going to be with the passing game, not the running game. But like I said, I do got them going 14-3.
Yeah, see, I don't trust Jalen Hurts as a passer in that situation.
Yeah,
I think it's still going to run through Saquon Barkley, but I think that's where it's going to be more controlled. I do agree with you. I don't think he has the year. I mean, he works for 2,000 yards. You know how hard that is? There's only been a handful of guys that have been able to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And play. And again, we have seen his history. He was healthy. We know what we get from a healthy Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. But do we get that again? That's it to be determined. He's never been healthy back-to-back seasons. We have never seen that. So you're gonna have to put the ball in Hurts' hands, and we have seen what that looks like. It's not the prettiest. But no, I agree with you on all the talent. I just think they did lose someone defensively. They are young. I just think you're going to have the Super Bowl hangover. That's just my opinion, though. I think you will see some. They're still a playoff team. They're still going to be there at the end. They're going to compete. Obviously, coming down. I mean, my 5 losses, I don't even think it's crazy. I have them losing to Kansas City in week 2, which I don't think that's absurd. I think Kansas City gets a revenge back in week 2. I have them losing to going to Green Bay and losing in Dallas in week 12, and then Washington and Buffalo. And the Washington game is that one where I said this separated one game. That game could easily go Philly's way.
Yep.
So like I said, I don't have them losing any crazy teams. I just think those are teams that can trap them off, going forward. Going as the season goes. So we'll see how it goes. I'm probably 100% wrong, but they're probably the 1 seed again. But yeah, that's how I feel about them.
Yeah, and I'm telling you this from a fantasy or dynasty perspective, I have a share of Saquon in dynasty, and as much as I enjoyed last year, it does have me a little nervous about this year. Like James, like what you said is, how many back-to-back years has he put together without injury? I mean, go find that record, So I feel that and then you got the Madden curse. If you believe in curses, the Madden curse is out there too. All these are possibilities. Definitely, if you have Saquon, you better handcuff to AJ Dillon, or I don't even know if Will Shipley's a real option, but you better find somebody else in that backfield to handcuff, because I ain't going to say I would subscribe to curses, but I damn sure don't want to play with them either. So I would definitely hedge on the safe side there. I do like one thing about Philly, and this is when, definitely the Panthers are trying to model themselves after Philadelphia. We want to try to bring in guys that have that dog mentality, that have, and they've done the best job out of anybody in doing that. And they've been able to redshirt guys that they're drafting. So yeah, they may have let guys go here or there, but they've been drafting guys that are setting, look at, what was it? Cooper DeJean last year. How long did he sit before he really saw the field? And then when he did,
it was the first 5 weeks.
Yeah. And when he did see it, he's coming out and being impactful. Look at him in the Super Bowl again. You draft him high. He comes in, sets before he's able to actually make an impact. And they have guys all over this roster that they could do that with. I do like the idea if Saquon if they are going to say, all right, let's sort of save Saquon. We don't need him to rush for 2,000 yards.
There you go, save Saquon
to be successful.
I agree.
So let's save him. Let's get these other running backs some of the totes. We got a young Will Shipley. Let's put him out there. Give him the rock. Let's see what he can do. You might as well figure it out. I mean, Saquon ain't gonna be there forever. Save that man's legs. Save him for important games, especially in the postseason. You definitely want him around then.
Yeah.
See what Jalen Hurts can do. I think if this team is going to continue to be successful, Jalen Hurts is going to have to improve his passing. And I know this whole Cam and Jalen Hurts controversy has been going on for the last, 3 weeks or something, it feels like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But there's no doubt that Cam Newton was a better passer than Jalen Hurts. And I think there's still something he needs to work on. We're talking you have A.J. Brown and you have Devontae Smith, as well as, like you said, you got Goddard out there. I mean, one of the best tight ends in the league. Plus,
when he's healthy,
solid-ass running when he's healthy, yeah. So you have weapons that you can work with here. That's why Jalen Hurts has not showed to me that he's better than Cam, and I'm just going to say that because we're on a Panthers podcast too. Jalen Hurts has never showed that he's better than Cam Newton as a quarterback. So if Jalen wants to silence those beliefs, then this would be a good year to come out and do that. I mean, the roster's set for you to be able to do so. I do think, if they can, looking at this roster on paper, I don't know how you bet against this team. Just what's on paper. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the best put together teams in the NFL, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Just don't call them a super team. That's all I can tell you. They're not that good. And last time they got called, who was it? Vince Young that said that they were a super team or some crazy shit, and then they completely crapped the bed. Good times.
Yeah.
Good old days. Eagles football.
But I do like the defense. The defense is solid, so
It is. It is.
It's not all about the offense.
Just like y'all were saying for Daniels year 2, right? This is a big prove-it year for Hurts as a passing quarterback.
I don't
Because
disagree.
think they're going to be able to rely on the run. So it's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure. Hurts is going to have to step up. He's going to have to win them some close games with his arm, and we'll see how it goes.
And it's crazy to say that a dude that just won a ring has to prove something, you know? Right. But, I mean, it is because – I mean –
but this is – so not to cut you off, James, but realistic, if you look at his supporting cast. There's probably 15 to 20 quarterbacks in the NFL that you put in his position and could do the same thing or better.
100%.
100%. Because he has the cast around him.
Yeah, and not to get on
to defeat that stigma.
Yeah, and not to get on the subject with the Cam, but like I don't agree with Cam. I do think Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in this league. But again, he isn't touching top 5 in my opinion. There's no way. There's no way. He's a top. They're a top 5 team, but he's not top 5 quarterback. I mean, and I'm not hating. You know what I mean? They're talented, and when it comes down to it, when you have example, I know this would be next week, but look at Lamar. Look what he was able to do before he got Derrick Henry. And look what he was able to do when he got Derrick Henry. You can't say the same thing when a guy gets a guy like Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry, but it makes it easy. When he's healthy, we knew what he was. And that just proved it. That team last year was Saquon Barkley's team. It was not Jalen Hurts. It was all Saquon Barkley. And I do think he has something to prove. He don't have to prove anything to anybody, really. You know what I mean? Hey, you're a winner. That's all that matters. That's what some people look at. You got a ring. You know what I mean? And when it comes down to it, if you're one of those people, say, hey, he won a championship. You know what I mean? But, that doesn't mean, you win a ring. That doesn't mean you get into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, it's just there's plenty of guys that haven't won a ring that are going to the Hall of Fame. Like, put yourself in that conversation as one of those top 5 guys in the league. Because you have the weapons around you to be a top 5 quarterback. 100%. There's like John said, there's 10 guys you can put in that offense and they would do the exact same thing. They would walk to a Super Bowl because that's kind of what they did. They were unstoppable last year. And it was crazy to watch. And you could talk numbers. Everybody wants to talk about his rushing touchdowns. We all know what that comes from. That's inflated. You know what I mean? That's not him using his legs.
Push stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but again, a great quarterback. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I would not want Jalen Hurts. He is a great quarterback, but he isn't, to me, he's not one of the elites in my opinion. And, if you're watching, you probably disagree with me, So that's just how I feel about it. I just think it's a regression this year for them, but we'll see.
He will be elite with the tush push in fantasy, though. So let's not get that.
Oh, no, fantasy? No, I'm not saying no. Yeah. Have Jalen Hurts. Draft Jalen Hurts. Do not. Yeah, don't get me wrong about that. Great fantasy option.
That thing ain't going nowhere.
I mean, 3.
Oh, and I got 2 shares of Jalen. 2 shares of Jalen. I got the stack. I think I got AJ Brown off of you, James, in one league. So I got the stack on that. Hey, I'm all for it. Go on and have a season.
I don't have a single quarterback.
I think he will. I think he's going to show some growth in the passing game.
Actually, I do have a quarterback out of this division, and it's Jackson Dart. So
I got a Jaden Daniels share, and I got
no Daniels. No Daniels.
I have every quarterback in this division somewhere.
I have everybody but a New York quarterback.
But I will say sleeper.
I was taking Dart early round 2 in a lot of leagues.
I'm not going to say this is a dynasty sleeper because he's rostered, but a guy to kind of see where he falls, in my opinion, is Cam Scatterbo. I think he could be a guy in redraft that late in the season, he's giving you productive numbers because I've seen, I've been watching a little bit of thing on him. I've heard a few people say that obviously not in the NFL, not like from the team, but like just fantasy opinions that, there's a chance that Scatterbo could probably take that job from Tyron Tracy later on in the season. So If you have Tracy,
Yeah.
if you have Tracy in Dynasty, I think, and if you could get Scatabo, I think that's something you should try to go after.
And that's what I was going to say too. I was like, even if Scatabo's not the true one, he could definitely be a RB. From what I've seen and heard, like what you're saying, there could be a RB 1A 1B.
Yeah,
out of the two of them.
You'll see the unofficial depth chart they dropped. They had him as running back 3 behind Singletary in the unofficial depth chart.
Yeah,
I think that may be more of a vet thing. I can't see that
too.
at all.
I think they're just trying to inflate some value there.
I'm not sold on Singletary, bro.
Yeah,
he had his chance
He
had his chance last year, and that was sniped from rookie. So
yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Was Singletary's injury a neck injury last year?
Yes, I believe so. I believe it was, which put him down, which allowed Tracy to come in. And no, correct. Same thing. What was the running back for Seattle? Had the neck injury, kind of ended his career.
Carson.
Was that Alexander?
Chris Carson. And another guy in this division that dealt with last year, which was A.J. Dillon, dealt with a neck injury last year too. Kept him out.
He was gone all year. Yep.
So, serious injuries. But again, not a lot. We talked about all the guys. I mean, the quarterback. 3 of those quarterbacks are obviously locks in fantasy. The wide receivers are locks in fantasy if you can get them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good division for fantasy football right there.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
Not
All right.
offensive firepower, minus the Giants.
So next, I'm ready to see where y'all are at on this division, the West, because I was struggling with the West. I could tell you that I struggled with the West.
Yeah.
So,
it's a goal,
John, if
man.
you want to start off with your 4th place team in the NFC West.
All right, this may or may not surprise you. I don't think it should be surprising if anybody knows how I think about this quarterback specifically. But I have the Seahawks finishing last place, 6-11.
Same.
Not really high on Sam Darnold.
Really?
To be quite frank, I'm still not high on Sam Darnold. He benefited from one of the best offensive coaches in the NFL last season in Minnesota. He also had Justin Jefferson and Addison and healthy Hawkinson coming back at tight end and a very above average offensive line and a very solid running game. And he's not going to have all of those things in place in Seattle. I think he's going to struggle. I know when I looked at the details of the contract that he signed, if you look at it, it's really a 1-year deal. Majority of the money guaranteed is upfront year 1. I think it's like $15 million guaranteed in year 2. So even though he got, I think it was a 3 or 4 year contract, it's still a 1-year deal for the most part.
Wasn't it 3 for $1 million or something? That 3 years
for $1 million. 3 years, like
100 million. Yeah,
it was like 100 million. I want to say 45 was guaranteed, and 30-some million of it's year 1. So realistically, if you look at the contract details of it, it's a 1-year prove-it deal, right? And if he does well, then he sticks to the roster next year. This could be a very similar, and I don't want to prelude to it, but it could be a very similar situations to what happened with Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, right? If you look at the Seahawks, they did draft a rookie. They drafted Jalen Milroe. Everybody knows who Jalen Milroe is if you watch college football. He was one of the most electrifying athletes you've ever seen play the quarterback position. He's arguably the fastest quarterback in the NFL, and that's saying something when you talk about Lamar Jackson. He's faster than Lamar Jackson.
96 speed Madden, baby. That boy's
that's
quick.
Madden? I did not know that. I haven't played Madden in years, but that's crazy. 96 for a quarterback. That boy is fast, okay? Yeah. And realistically, if you look at how the schedule lays out, man, the schedule is not the easiest. And if my thought happens and they hit the road and they struggle and they're a non-contending playoff team and they don't think Sam Darnold is the answer for next year, I could see a world where Jalen Milroe is going to finish out the season as starting quarterback for Seattle Seahawks. I would not rule that out as a possibility. If you look at the beginning of their schedule, I got them starting off 1-3 with 1 win versus the Saints. And then I got them losing the next 2 again before they get a win versus the Texans. And that, to me, is a very coin flip game. Texans could very easily win that game. If you look at it, I got them 2-5 going into the bye week. And a 2-5 football team going into a bye week is not a playoff contending team. And that's when you're going to start making some of those really tough decisions roster-wise on what you want to be able to do. Obviously, they traded DK Metcalf. They traded Geno. So they brought in Sam Darnold, the quarterback. JSN had an outstanding year last year. They brought in Cooper Kupp to replace the DK Metcalf. So we'll see how well it gels. I'm really concerned with the running backs issues with his foot, Walker. He's missed like a whole week of training camp already with some lingering foot issue. They're not being specific in the details of this injury. I haven't seen anything specific of what it is. I just see that it's a lingering foot issue. I don't know what a lingering foot issue means, but for a running back that relies on running the football, that's genuinely concerning. So I think Zach Charbonnet is an excellent handcuff. He's probably a top 3 handcuff in fantasy, whether it's redraft or dynasty. And I think he could get a lot more playing time this year with everything that's going on with Walker and this foot issue that he has going on. And then, like I said, defensively, I think this team's pretty sound. I do think they have a above average defense. I don't think they're great by any means, but I do think they have an above average defense. They took my favorite rookie safety in the draft, so kudos to them for that one. I think he's going to be an excellent safety. I don't know how to say that man's name. I ain't gonna lie, but he's excellent. He's got a weird last name. I even took him in a couple of IDP leagues because, this dude's going to get some major burn at safety. He's going to be a tackling machine. It's going to be fun to watch. But like I said, I'm not high on the Seahawks. I got them 6-11. I think they're last place in this division. And like I said, I could see a world where Jake Milroe finishes this season as starting quarterback for the Seahawks.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not big on them either. 6-11, same here. I do have them picking up some random wins. That looking back, I'm surprised I even gave them a win to open the season against San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Then a win. Man, I gave them 2 more wins in the division. So somehow they go 3-3 in their division. I don't know how I managed to do that, but that's half their wins right there. So not huge on this team. Again, a lot of things like John said. I'm not really sold on this coaching staff to be honest either. I think they still have to prove it. I'm not going to say that I'm out on Darnold. I do think that he can be good. He can be serviceable for sure. I don't know if this is the place to do it at. You got JSN. The running game I think should be solid. Yes, as far as fantasy goes, I have the handcuff of Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. I think 2 different places. Nice. I have that handcuff. So I definitely that's benefited me quite a bit last year for sure. Especially when Walker went down, I was easily able to plug Charbonnet in there. So that's definitely solid advice. Definitely get that handcuff with that duo because there's not really a drop off when they have to do that.
Sure.
There might be even games where you could start both of them, to be honest. So as far as that's pretty much it with this team. They're a West Coast team. I'm gonna be honest. How many Seahawks games have I watched, and am I going to watch? It's just not. They're not on the top of my radar. 6-11 sounds about right for me.
I got a nice Panthers win at the very end of the season, week 17 versus the Seahawks. So
sounds good.
Hold true to that one.
Okay, so I have them third in the division at 8-9. So only 2 games better than y'all, and this is why. I think bringing in Mike McDonald as the head coach, a defensive mind coach, you take a young defense that was showing promise last year. I think he could get these guys rallied, and I think they're better this year. The Sam Darnold thing, I don't think he's going to have to do too much. I think with that run game, as y'all have mentioned, with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, I think it's going to take a lot of the load off of Sam Darnold on what he has to do. I think this is going to be a defensive team that's just going to run the ball. And then you bring in Cooper Kupp, a reliable veteran that is a short-handed guy. All you have to do is get in his direction. He's going to catch the ball. And then you mentioned JSN, the season he had last year. I think they have enough there to – I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't have them in the playoffs or anything like that. But I think they're a team that could show some promise this year. My biggest hiccup is Sam Darnold, is how good can he be, down the stretch. We have seen it time and time again. I actually told a buddy today, as a Seahawks fan, I said, do you know what Sam Darnold did with the Panthers his first season he started? We started off 4-0. And then it was downhill from there. So He always finds his way back to his old ways, but he doesn't have Justin Jefferson like he had last year. But I think he has a better run game than he had last year, for sure. So that's where I have them. Obviously, not too much to say. I'm with y'all. It's not exciting. I just think they're going to be a middle of the pack team, and they're going to find a way to win games. And I mean, hey, you go to their stadium; it's hard to play there. So, and I just think they brought in a really good head coach, and I think he's going to have that defense play really solid because they had some young pieces that really showed out last year. So, that's where I have them. So, I'm assuming y'all have the team I have in fourth and third. So, John, you
might be a good assumption. So this is interesting, and it depends on how we're going to go. So I'm going to go with the route that you said, even though it's not quite accurate. I got Arizona at 9-8. I'm a little bit higher on Arizona than some people. I do think this is an above 500 football team. I like Kyler Murray from a fantasy standpoint. I think he's top 5 just because of the value he brings in the running game. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been having a tremendous camp. He's shown significant growth. I mean, the dude picked up like 20, 25 pounds in muscle. He's built. So I think this is the year where he's really going to show everybody why, he was Dynasty 101 as a rookie in a lot of cases. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's going to have a wide receiver 1 year in this offense. Obviously, Trey McBride, right, second best tight end in football last year behind Brock Bowers. I think he's got elite upside again this year. Offensively, I do think that they find more stability in the running game. I do think that they're going to be more of a committee backfield this year than what they were last year. I do think Benson is going to get a lot more playing time to complement what Connor already does in the running game. If you look at a lot of what they've said in camp, it's more of a 1A, 1B approach at running back between the two. So I do think that this is going to be an interesting field. I do think Kyler Murray is going to show some progression in the passing game. Defensively, I think this defense is underrated. I do think that this defense has shown some significant growth and improvement. And I would be remiss not to talk about that second round draft pick that they made a cornerback with Johnson coming out of Michigan. He's arguably a top 10 player in the draft, but due to some medical opportunities that red flagged via the combine with some knee issues, right? He fell. And that happens 1 or 2 players just about every year. So it's not something that we've never seen before. But a player of his elite upside and talent, there's been numerous videos that I've seen where he has excelled when it comes to the especially the man press defense. Like he bodied Marvin Harrison Jr. on one route. I saw it. I know Dean mentioned it. Realistically, Marvin Harrison did slip, and he just pressed him into the ground when he lost his footing. But I mean, at the end of the day, if that happens in a practice or on the field, it still happens. So I do think that was arguably a potential steal of the draft, having again, top 10 upside player fall to you in the second round. But we'll see how that turns out long term because, again, the knee issues are there. They are real. Otherwise, some teams would have definitely taken him well before he fell that far down in the draft. But again, I do have this team as an above 500 team. I do have them starting the season fairly strong. They're starting out 5-2. So I do think that they got a very favorable schedule on the front side. They got Colts, Titans, they got the Seahawks, they got the Saints. And they also play the Panthers in week 2. I do have them taking a nice loss to the Panthers in week 2, just so you're aware. Like I said, I do like the upside to this team. I do think that they're going to show some growth, and I do think that they're going to be at least a 9-win team. I do think their ceiling is also higher than that, so we'll see where they land overall. And I will say, realistically, their floor could be significantly lower. I could see this team winning 3 to 5 games if things don't, progress, if they don't really show improvement in the passing game, and if Kyler Murray can't take that step and show significant improvement in the passing game specifically. But realistically, this is a running football team. And these close games that they play year in and year out, they have to find a way to start winning. I think this is the year they're going to start to see a turnaround.
Yeah, I have the same record. I have the same record. Would you say 8-9, right?
9-8.
9-8. 9-8 is what I have, Matt. Yep. So same record. I just think this is a tough team, and this is every year. They play defense tough. They're sort of gritty. Kyler Murray is going to come out there. He's going to make people look stupid sometimes, and he's going to make himself look stupid also. I think it's just what. Yeah. But they will run the football. They even with who are we talking? James Conner. We're talking about Trey Benson. And even their third string guy was able to come in and get some traction there toward the latter part of the season. So they are a tough, gritty football team, and they sneak up on people. Look, they get wins when you don't expect them to get wins. Tough games. They always will play tough. The division, that they will sneak out a couple division wins when you're not expecting them to get them. They are thorns in the side of everybody in that division, I think. They always seem to there's always a Dallas that they get. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just going to do this. I think still they're a middle of the road team just because they don't have the I guess the full amount of talent to put them over, but they are a middle of the road team that's a pain in the butt to play. I don't think nobody looks forward to playing them. I like the Cardinals. I just don't like them good enough to say that they're gonna challenge for a division title or anything. But I can't really say much more than what you said. Everything you're saying, I'm pretty much in line with.
And before I go, breaking news: Keenan Allen has just signed with the Chargers, so he's back.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
So
they've been talking about it all weekend.
Gives Herbert wants another weapon. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't that far. Yeah,
they're diving on QJ.
But I wasn't that far off of me. I have them at 7-10. I mean, it's one game lower than what y'all have. Everything y'all just said. I mean, it comes down to it. They're a weird team to kind of look at. You want Kyler to be great. I think that's where most people are at. You want him to be great, but like I said, there's times where he just
inconsistent.
He's inconsistent. You know what I mean? And the struggles that Marvin Harrison had last year. Now, if Marvin comes out and he's the guy that they drafted him to be, you're talking about a totally different team because then you add that with Trey McBride. But my thing is James Conner, he's aging. I don't know, how you continue to run the offense through him, which is what I saw last year a lot, is just turn around, hand the ball. Defense needs to show me more before I can really hop on this train because I think they have two of the better young talents in the league in Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride. So it's just, it's the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals, I mean, what's there more to say? Can they be better? Yes. Could they come out here and win 10 games? Like Seth said, could they sneak, 1, 2, 3 more games in? Absolutely. And you would never expect it to happen. And that's just where they're at. They're hard for me to really look at and really give them a winning season, in my opinion, this year. But I think they're in the right direction because they did draft some offensive line in the first round this year. So they are getting Kyler some protection. So we'll just see. I want to see more out of Marvin Harrison. I want to see him, take that jump and be, one of those top 10 guys like they drafted him to be because his talent's there. So, yeah, it's Arizona.
Real quick, just speaking of Marvin Harrison Jr., a quick bold prediction. I think he's going to go for 1,300 plus receiving yards and 8 touchdowns this year.
You're crazy.
You heard it here first. 1,308.
I can see it. I guess I could see it. That's not. I mean, in today's NFL, that's not like. It's average.
I mean, last year that would have been top 5 in receiving yards.
Well, I'm just gonna say from a fantasy perspective, I mean, that would be nice, but I would like to see a number 2 come along out of that team somewhere.
I mean, that's what
you're trying to, Michael Wilson. What are we doing? What are we doing out there?
Yes.
It'd be nice to get a number 2 to sort of help.
Just sign Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper, yeah, there you go.
That actually would not be bad.
I
don't think that would be a bad signing for them if you think about it.
It'd be a solid number 2.
100%.
I think it would benefit Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot too.
Yeah, they definitely need. I think they really need a receiver that can break off routes a lot easier. Like if they had somebody, So when Kyler gets to going, somebody that can break it off and get open. That's And I guess that's why that's why McBride is so successful there, because he can do that too, sort of setting his own, wait for Kyler to find him. If they could find a receiver that could do that as well, I think that would be a good number 2 there in Arizona.
And look for those guys in the red zone. What did McBride have? 2 touchdowns last year?
Yes,
he did.
He was down.
If I'm not mistaken, he had the most targets inside the 5-yard line last year.
Yeah. That's why he was so good.
And it took him until week 15 to score.
Yeah, he was so good. He was tight end too in fantasies because he got all the receptions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he caught a lot of footballs. He just didn't score touchdowns.
That's why you get in the end zone.
Yeah, hey, you put him in the end zone. That's the same thing I said with Brock Bowers. You get Brock Bowers in the end zone, you're looking at the crazy fantasy production because both those guys, I think Bowers scored 5 and Trey scored 2. So we
get about 8 each.
And this is just coming from a guy that may have some shares of both those guys. So
yeah,
I need touchdowns, guys.
No
touchdowns. All right, so I got a feeling we might be a little different on this one too. We'll see.
Go with the Rams.
No. Yeah, Rams next.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Right?
Y'all go ahead.
The Rams next.
All right, well, let's go with Rams then.
Yeah, we'll go with Rams.
All right, Seth, kick it off. Seth, you kick this one.
I have the Rams at 8 and 9.
Wow.
There's middle of the road too. Look, here's what it comes down. I was a whole lot higher on the Rams, but then I started hearing about, well, we're monitoring the reps that Stafford gets. We're sort of shutting him down for the preseason. Want to make sure he gets through healthy. Excuse me, what? You're already to that point where you're monitoring how many reps this guy gets in practice. What are we talking about? Continuity and everything. Your top receiver Cooper Kupp, you've let go. So we got Puka there. You also, your third wide receiver from last year, what was his name? Now in San Francisco,
Robinson.
Yes. So, man, I know that, was it Kyron Williams just got a extension. Yep. Good for him. Definitely, I think deserving, fits what they need. But the quarterback, man, Matthew Stafford. How can the Rams be successful when you do not have a second option at quarterback? What are they going to? Are they really? Is Stetson Bennett the option? What's the second option there? Jimmy G.
Garoppolo.
I mean,
that is pretty bad.
That's what Devontae Adams tried to get away. And then come right back to it too.
Yes,
I'm not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it. If you already got your number one old quarterback on a freaking snap count in preseason or in at camp, what are you really expecting to get out of this guy through the season? And I know Stafford is tough as freaking nails, probably one of the toughest son of a guns that's in the league. As far as getting through injuries and stuff, but he is so much older than what he used to be. This is not Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford, where he's going to come up there and limp along. Eventually, at some point, he's not getting up. And if he does not get up, then the Rams are not getting up. That defense can be as good as it wants to be. I don't see where they can make the postseason if that ends up happening. And that's sort of where I'm stuck on Matthew Stafford. It's not going to be there toward the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got him 9 and 8, so we're one game apart there. Realistically, everything you said about Stafford's 100% accurate, right? That's the concern. That's the scare. And for me, just knowing the fact that this is a back issue is uber concern, right? Because we're not talking about just, any player. It's your quarterback. And if the man can't move because his back is too stiff to throw a football, that is time to be genuinely concerned for the outcome of your season. Now, I did, and I will preface this, when I gave them that 9 and 8 record, that's with the anticipation that Stafford is ready to go week 1. Okay, let me be very, very specific when I say that. This team could be significantly worse if Matthew Stafford is not ready to begin the year. It'll be hard to determine up to this point. I don't think he's actually did a full practice in training camp. I don't think he's done anywhere near a full practice with this lingering back issue.
I don't think so.
And that's absolutely concerning when you factor in the fact that they just brought in Devontae Adams. They've had 0 reps together in live scrimmages, better or less live games, right? So we all know how elite Devontae Adams is as far as his route running ability in and out of the breaks. And one of the best things when it came to Devontae Adams is always that continuity of the quarterback and the timing, right? The ball has to be there on time. They're not getting any of those reps right now, and that scares me for the Rams. Last year, I thought this team was a playoff team, right? I thought they were a really, really solid squad. This year, defensively, I think they're going to be better, right? They were really young last year. They had a lot of unexpected productivity. Curse comes to mind, He comes to mind as their second-round draft pick last year. I think he was second or third in the league in pressures on quarterbacks. Now, those pressures get equivalent to sacks, but he was getting the pressure. This year, let's hopefully see if he can get double digits. I think he could be, low-key most improved player on defense when it comes to statistical growth from his rookie year to this year. But offensively, like I said, man, I'm really, really scared. I don't trust this team. Williams is going to get a lot of burn in the backfield, right? Puka is going to be very dependent on what happens with Stafford. Devontae Adams is going to be very dependent on what happens with Stafford. The offensive line is shaky anyways. It's not like they have an elite offensive line. They did improve quite a bit last year, but it's far from what I would consider an elite offensive line. So like I said, I got them going 9-8, and that's putting a lot of faith in Stafford and that back. Realistically, if Stafford's not 100%, or Lord forbid something literally bad happens with Stafford, he misses a significant portion of the season, I think this team could be literally in contention for a top 5 pick in the 2026 NFL draft. So it's going to be very dependent on Matthew Stafford and the health of his back.
Okay. Now, I'm not crazy on them. I have them 12-5, winning the division. This is one of those teams, Seth, you said, we had mentioned, after we see preseason, maybe we, can reevaluate some of the teams that how we're looking at them going into the season. And this may be one of them, because I do want to see what Matthew Stafford, if he does play during the preseason or not. But I think he's going to be all right. John, you mentioned the defense did get a little better as the season went. I think bringing Adams over, I think you upgraded from Cooper Kupp, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this division for me this year, obviously you heard my other 2 teams, I don't think it's as strong as it has been in previous years. San Francisco, we'll get to them in a minute, but I feel like they've taken a back step a little bit. So I feel like that may open the door a little bit for the Rams on that last, I guess you could say, hoorah for Matthew Stafford. If I had to put my money on it, he's done after this season, But I do think he has enough left to carry this team. I know you bring in Devontae Adams. You have, Puka Nacua. You just re-signed Kyron Williams. So I think they have the pieces there. It's going to determine on Matthew Stafford. And I'm just going to go on the fact, this dude's been a machine. He's played through so many injuries in his career. And you're at the point now where it's catching up with him, obviously. But I think he has a little bit less left in the – he's one of those guys when you think that he's down, because, John, you mentioned you were high on him last year. I've been high on Matthew Stafford for the last 3 seasons. I kept saying, this point, it's coming, and it never happens. You know what I mean? And this could be the year. But I like him this year. I think they did the right thing to kind of just, finish the season strong. And I think they can win this division, because I don't think it's as strong as it has been. I don't think the other team in the 49ers is as strong as they have been in years prior. So definitely like the pieces from a fantasy standpoint too in this one. If Matthew Stafford can just play, he's not going to play the level he was playing previous years, but I think if he just gives you that not above average play and don't make the mistakes. You know what I mean? He's always been a smart quarterback. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's always pretty smart, and he's so clutch. If he still has any of that clutch gene left in him, I think he can take these guys to another playoff run. Now, can he go all the way? I don't know. But It just might be one of the teams where I'm looking at, after preseason saying, yeah, maybe. But for now, I think he has enough. I think they've done enough offense on the offensive side of the ball. I think the defense is going to be better this year. So I'm going to give them the nod at a 12-5 record in the division.
And it's certainly possible. And the one thing I will say, and if you look back prior to the draft, the one thing that makes me feel good about Stafford and his health is the fact they gave him more money, gave him a contract extension, right? So it was a good amount of money too. And they had the opportunity to potentially trade him to a couple of different suitors, including the Giants. So realistically, I do believe that he will be fine in the long run. And to your point, he's went through a lot of injuries. Last year, I think Dean thought his arm was going to fall off with his elbow. Like, if you look at it, he's had a bum shoulder. You name it, that dude's probably broke it or come close to it on multiple occasions, especially his shoulder. Tough as nails. He's 37 years old. He's definitely on the other side, right? But I do think, and to your point, I don't think this is going to be his last year. I think you're going to get 2 or 3 more years out of him. It's just, where is that productivity going to be? And is he going to be able to sustain clean health over the course of the next 2 to 3 years? I do think I could see him play.
That's tough.
2 to 3 years.
His arm talent-wise, his arms. Yeah, I think it could happen. The arm talent is there. His legs, I'm more worried about than the arm.
Yeah, it's that lower body that I'm worried about.
We'll see.
Don't get that man.
It's a lower body.
Booster shots before he goes out on the field. He ain't gonna feel nothing.
Just numb him up. As long as you can feel your arm, that's all I need.
Gonna be on Jello legs. You don't feel anything. Don't feel anything.
Now it's time to talk about the Jello legs or calves or tendonitis that was the 49ers last season. When it comes to our love of CMC, true and through as Panthers fans, I got the 49ers going 12-5. I have the 49ers bouncing back. I have them winning this division. And a lot of that is off of what I expect from Christian McCaffrey coming back healthy this year, right? We haven't heard any more issues when it comes to his Achilles tendonitis. His issue with his knee last year was very minor. It wasn't a major type of issue. It just happened late in the year. And by that point, it wasn't even worth putting it back out on the field. I do got this team starting off 4-0. I do have them winning versus the 40. I got them starting off 4-0. I have them winning at Seahawks, at Saints, at home versus Arizona, and at home versus the Jags. And then I got them taking back-to-back losses, Rams, Tampa. Like I said, I got them finishing 12-5 overall. I think they're going to bounce back. I think Purdy's going to be able to play, game management football. I don't know what that receiving core is going to look like with Brandon Ayuk not being healthy. There's a lot of potential in this receiver room to see, somebody come out and really solidify, a viable role fantasy-wise over the first, half of the season for sure. I'm not really high on Ayuk this year. I would definitely temper the expectations. I do think he's going to miss at least the first 4 weeks of the year, potentially up to the first 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how long it really takes his knee to recover from the ACL and MCL tears of last season. I do think Pearsall, if I had to pick a guy right now, I think Pearsall is going to be, the number one option as far as receivers. I think George Kittle is going to benefit more than anybody offensively when it comes to the receiving portion, followed by CMC. I really do think they're going to run this offense with Christian McCaffrey, both receiving and pass catching wise. I could see this being one of those years where Christian McCaffrey can come out and give you in surplus of 100+ receptions, which he has done previously with the Panthers. And I do think realistically this team is built and centered around what they're going to be able to do with McCaffrey, how healthy he's going to be. I think he's going to make it through the year. I got him going 12-5, and Christian McCaffrey is going to be my preseason offensive player of the year selection in the National Football League.
So CMC is definitely going to be – so I'm going to tell you what, this is the biggest thing that's going to come out of the 49ers this year is going to be if CMC has this year that you're talking about, John, it is going to blow up stem cell research.
110%.
I mean, if he is able to come back and be what you're saying, stem cell research is going to skyrocket, and everybody is going to want stem cell to be, any injury. All right,
Matthew
give me
Stafford?
some stem cells. Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's how he's going to get his extra 2-3 years. Yeah, the stem cells. I'm interested to see. To be honest, no. All jokes aside, I am interested to see what happens with McCaffrey coming off of all that and seeing, with those treatments and everything. I know he went mid-season last year, got those done, and then they shut him down. Not long after that, coming back. Now he's had about 8 to 10 months or something of recovery since then. So I am interested to see what's going to happen there. I do not feel that favorable for this team, though, and relying on unproven technology or procedure or whatever. So I have them coming in at 9-8. This would be the same record as the Cardinals. It's going to be a push. I think right now I give them the edge to win the division at 9-8, but it's a push right there with the Cardinals for me. There's a lot of things with San Francisco that I feel like is almost like it's falling apart. I know Purdy, has got locked in, no longer Mr. Irrelevant. Now he's Mr. Contract, but like you're saying, Brandon Ayuk, what's his availability going to be throughout the season? That we're talking, that's your number one receiver. Ricky Pearsall is already having some soft tissue issues with the hamstring this offseason. That's a concern. He didn't play a full season last year because he got shot. No fault of his own, but we haven't seen him put together a full season yet either. And especially when you're talking about he may have to be the guy on this team. I don't have a whole lot of faith. An aging team also, particularly along the offensive line, I don't have a whole lot of faith in this team to be what they were 2 seasons ago and to bring it back again. I think their window may be closing specifically if this stem cells is not a miracle worker. So yeah, I'm seeing 9-8, and they're going to be struggling to try to get the
100%. I agree with you, Seth. I have them at 10-7, so one game better than you. Same thing. The uncertainties that you have going into the season. You're talking about going to a season where a team that usually gets hurt during the season is going into the season already hurt. Your number one wide receiver's down. You have an unproven Ricky Pearsall. I know Dean likes Ricky Pearsall, but he has to prove it. You're talking a situation where you're going in, your number one wide receiver is Jawan Jennings. Now, it's not technically a bad option if you play fantasy, you know what he looked like last year when he had that little stretch. But still, you don't want to go into the season as your number one wide receiver being Jawan Jennings. And then it's the Christian McCaffrey question mark. You don't know. Do I hope he's healthy? 100%. I love watching Christian McCaffrey play. Obviously, as a Panthers fan, I've always enjoyed watching him play football. When he's healthy, he's electrifying. Nobody even comes close to him when he's healthy, But that's like Seth said, you've never seen, this procedure done on a football player. So you don't know how it is. He looks good in camp, but he's also not being hit. He's also not have to make those quick cuts. You don't have to avoid, getting tackled. So we'll have to see what it looks like when he has pads on and he's banging with other players. Like, you just have to see that. So I think they're past it, man. I think their window is closed. I just don't see this team being as lethal as it was. It's time for a revamp, for this team. Defensively, are they still going to be good? Probably. They usually are. But they just got to – you're going in hurt, and then you still got to keep your team healthy. And this is a team that is always hurt. Like, this team is never fully healthy. The only time we've seen that was their Super Bowl run. And obviously that didn't come out how they wanted. So it's hard for me to get behind them this year unless Christian McCaffrey comes out and, said this is a miracle and it worked, That's yet to be determined. I just can't get behind it. Brock Purdy, he's good, but again, you ain't got no weapons, he ain't good. That's any quarterback. So hopefully they can get healthy and then maybe show something. So, but right now I can't get behind them. There's too many question marks for San Francisco. And I don't even know if y'all like anybody outside of McCaffrey and Kittle to really take in.
Time will tell. Like I said.
And fantasy,
Well, So that's the thing too. All right, so McCaffrey goes down last year. You have Jordan Mason. He's able to come in, step up. Definitely. If you had him in any handcuff capacity, if you were able just to just had him stashed on your bench as a third, fourth running back, definitely paid dividends to you. He's gone. Now you have Isaac Gurindo. I mean, he looked serviceable. Definitely looked like he could fill a role, but I don't know if is it the whole season role. I don't know if he could do that.
Exactly.
I know they got rookie. Was it Jordan James? Mm-hmm. He seems like there may be some upside there, but again, it's an unproven, unknown commodity. Smaller school, nobody. The competition that he faced, not really NFL, caliber. So again, if McCaffrey goes down, I think all hopes are lost.
Oh, it's done.
If he's able to deliver, then that changes completely, and they probably pick up more wins for sure. So, and they probably do get up to double digit. I still don't know if it's a 12-5, but I think they do.
10.
They are able to pick up another 1 or 2 wins. What I've got. So that's my only thing with them. And again, fantasy. Like if you're going to have McCaffrey, you better make sure you got one of them other running backs that's in that stable.
Yeah, 100%.
And it could be by committee after that too.
Yeah, you gotta have his hand.
Yeah, and I mean it's a situation where you're going to see him fall in drafts. There's not going to be a lot of jumping out to really get him. I think I looked and he's in that late first, early second round, in redrafts. If you have a dynasty, you probably can't get rid of him. Probably can't give him away. Nobody's giving you much for him.
John tried to hit me up going into the rookie draft. John tried to hit me up to get McCaffrey, and I was like, man, I can't. There's two. I can't let it go with the possibility of the upside. I just couldn't do it.
And I think if you have him in dynasty, you got to hold him. You know what I mean? Because of what he could possibly give you. When you're talking,
and I already have his backfield mates too, so that's on top of that.
That always helps. Always helps having the the security there. But yeah, it's tough, man. I hope and Kittle, obviously, fantasy. George Kittle's going to do George Kittle things. And
have a huge game and then disappear for a couple.
And if Dean's right, Pearsall's definitely a sleeper. I don't know where he's being drafted at right now, but I know it's hard to get him. I mean, if you try to trade for him in Dynasty, people aren't really getting rid of him. They want to hold on to him. So
yeah,
it's just a weird situation with San Francisco this year. If I'm being honest, just my opinion, if I'm redrafting.
The one thing I will say when it comes, the Kyle Shanahan effect is real. So if there's somebody that can deal with the, craziness that is, I think Shanahan will be fine.
No, 100%. No, I agree with that. But I'm talking about from a fantasy standpoint, I'm probably avoiding a lot of these guys. You know what I mean? Let other people.
A lot of the 49ers.
Yeah, put those time bombs on your roster. I don't want them.
Well, and look, hey, as much as you just said about the NFC East being a huge fantasy division, I would stay away from the NFC West. I would stay away from a lot of those players if I'm doing a redraft, especially.
Yeah. Puka, probably my favorite out of all of it.
Yeah. But then you still have the whole thing with Stafford of who's going to be there.
No, correct.
But
if you're going to take where he's being drafted, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know if I would take him there.
I would think Kyler Murray is probably, I think, a safe bet to pick up, and maybe you're looking at a few of the running backs. We said Walker, Charbonnet. I would definitely pick up James Conner and Trey Benson, Kyron Williams. I think you'd be safe rolling there. CMC would be a risk, but I would lean more toward the running game in this division than I would picking up a wide receiver. Maybe JSN because what else are they? That might be a good safe pick there, JSN. But he's still going to be high anyway, so it's not like he's a sleeper.
Well, I think the last thing we could wrap up with realistically preseason week 1, right? We got a game this week, guys.
I know, bro.
And Shedeur Sanders has been named the starting quarterback for the Browns in preseason week 1. So
didn't they pick up
his ass out in the first week of the year?
Didn't they pick up Hundley?
They picked up Snoop.
Yeah. They picked up like a 5th quarterback. we're going to see a lot of quarterbacks against the Panthers defense. They're third stringers.
Are they just trying to hide? Are they trying to hold their hand? Is that what they're doing, you think? Why do you have that many?
No,
I don't think they know.
two of them are hurt. Two of them got
sad.
hamstring issues.
You got the old man Flacco. What's the deal with Kenny Pickett? I ain't heard nothing hardly about Kenny
No, bro.
Pickett.
If I'm them, I'm riding
Hamstring.
Flacco. I'm riding Flacco, and I'm letting other guys figure it out. Because you do not want to put those guys in against that division.
Ain't a bad idea.
Division. You do not want to play them. Them rookies would be ruined if you put them in against some of those defenses in the North, or the North. So no, I don't know what's going to go on Friday night. I'm excited to see our offense. Obviously, Pad's going against another team tackling for real.
Yeah, me too.
And we only get to see one drive, which Dave Canales has announced. So I would hopefully.
Did he come down on one drive?
Hey, it's better than last year.
I think he said they're going to play one series. So
okay, I was trying to listen to his podcast, the press conference today, but I was in the middle of work too, so I was in and out on actually hearing what he was saying. But I know he had said 1 to 2 series in the first 1 and 2 games of the preseason, so I didn't know if he'd come down. But I will tell you this: I was really hoping to see at FanFest. I was really hoping to see Hunter Renfrow. He didn't even dress. Apparently, he's got a soft tissue issue as well, and they're sort of playing it cautious with him. Derek Brown wasn't there. I also heard that he didn't practice today, being Tuesday. They are hoping that he will be able to practice against Cleveland. They sort of held few guys out actually to save them for the team practice against Cleveland. And he also didn't seem too favorable one way or the other that Derek Brown would even play in the preseason game. So I don't know if we're going to see all the starters or not. And I will tell you, J.C. Horn did not participate in team drills.
I don't think we will.
During FanFest. Who else? There was a few other guys that I wanted to see that were pulled. So I didn't really get to see everything I wanted to see at FanFest, but don't sound like we're going to see Hunter Renfrow this week. So I guess maybe we're getting – I would like to see some Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn 100%. Had 2 touchdowns at FanFest. Definitely looked like a playmaker that could be in the mix. T-Mac was – I think he was targeted 5 to 6 times with 2 or 3 receptions during FanFest. Nothing big. Most of them were of medium gains at best. I would like to see a little bit more out of that. I would like to see some deep passing. That's what I would really like to see. At least a shot here or there, especially if we're only going to see him one drive. I want to see some shots taken.
For sure. I agree. 100%. Make it a long drive. I just want to see a long drive.
Minimum of 1.
Maybe score. Maybe get down there and score a touchdown. Let's get a touchdown score.
Yes.
So that's what I want. So, John, you have anything to add?
I want to see Horn more than anybody.
Yeah, Jimmy Horn. Yeah. I'm gonna put this up here. This was a picture. I took this at FanFest, and I've talked about this the last couple weeks. And I want you to look. I just put the names down here so you can see what this lineup looks like. I talked about the success that Bryce was able to have with a no back, zero back set.
Mm-hmm.
This can be done in the middle. I mean, we could be charging down the field and go to this. Here's your running back split out. Rico Dowdle out here far left. Mitchell Evans here in this slot. You have T-Mac right there. XL and Thielen. Now you can mix this up any which way you want.
Oh,
JT Sanders multiple times was in this position as well. JT Sanders was quietly, I thought, one of the most impressive people I saw during FanFest. He was showing up in several spots. He's not getting any big catches, or he didn't get any big catches during that time. But what he was able to do was get some short, medium passes. You get enough of those, you're converting you're converting on thirds and shorts, thirds and mediums with that. This is what I've been talking about this last several weeks, is you get these guys out here that have the ability to create, get open. This isn't even showing you where a Jimmy Horn or a Hunter Renfrow or any of these guys mixing in. Even Chuba lined up out here at one time. Chuba was out here far, he was out wide, and T-Mac was on the inside of him. I mean, we're talking all kinds of possibilities across this offense. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think there's just so many possibilities of what can come out of this formation. And we're just talking about sustaining drives and driving the football. You don't have to sub in and out that much. No. You can keep these same guys in, keep the defensive package in that you want. And there were multiple times where Chuba and Rico were on the field at the same time in the backfield. And if you can still say we're doing that, we're moving the ball, and we don't want to give the defense time to substitute, well, we're just going to move Chuba and Rico out as a wide receiver as well. Just so many options. When you can keep the defense off balance like that, not knowing what you're going to be throwing at them, I think this is huge. Yeah. And again, this is what I've been preaching for the past several weeks. So what we have available.
Exactly. And me and Dean talked about too. And like you said, the packages you could use, the mismatches that you can create with those type of formations with the guys that we have brought in is endless. You know, like you said, you can move these guys around any way you want. And that's, you know, that formation you just showed, that's without any of our speed guys in there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Our Jimmy Horns or, you know, any of those guys underneath. So
you get a Renfro and a Jimmy Horn on the field at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. But give Bryce that underneath target, those smaller targets, but are quicker. No, dude, that is one thing I have been saying to Dean, and I've been talking to people at work when they're like, oh, you Carolina Panthers, like, you just wait. Like, I'm not one out here. Obviously, you'll see when we get to our team. I'm not out here saying like, oh, our team is, you know, playoff bound and all this other stuff. I'm here to tell you that you're going to recognize the Carolina Panthers this year. You're going to learn to, all right, these guys are doing something. And it's the mind of Dave Canales. It's bringing him in, doing what he's been able to do with Bryce, and then getting the right pieces around him for Bryce. Bryce needed the right guys in there, and I think they've done that. And I've not only, you talked about the empty sets. There's two other guys I have been watching YouTube, and they've been talking about this, where he thrives best as whenever he's in those type of formations. It allows him to play freely. Bryce is going to be able to play freely. He's going to be able to, he's really good at avoiding pressure.
That's his game.
It's his game, and he's going to have so many targets, man. So many targets. I can't wait. It's going to be something this year, I tell you. Now, I can't tell you on the defensive side, but I can tell you the offense is going to look good. For sure.
Defense will look a lot better than it did last year.
I hope.
I hope so.
I hope so.